Hey, what up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. It's your boy Kenny, bringing you guys a ranking, and as you saw from the intro, it's the Viewaskewniverse. We're gonna rank all 8 of the View-Askew movies, man. All the Kevin Smith universe, y'all. This is gonna be my personal ranking, my favorites. From most to least favorite, or from least to most favorite. And notice how I say favorite, because I love all these movies, man. So, just my personal ranking. I figured it'd be something fun to do to kind of see which ones I love the most and all that if I had to sit down and really rank it. But remember, guys, it's just a subjective opinion, just my personal favorites, and all that. But make sure you drop your thoughts down below, man, and let us know in the comment section. We would love to get into a discussion with y'all. Make sure you click those subscribe buttons, the share buttons, the like buttons, hashtag more cowbell. A studio can never have enough cowbell, right? So let's get on it, y'all. So let's do it. But with no further ado, we're going to get into this ranking, man. And we're going to start off here at number 8, man. And number 8 is going to be 1999's controversial 4th installment in the Viewaskewniverse. We're talking about Dogma, man. Dogma starring so many great actors, man. Chris Rock, Ben Affleck, Matt Damon, Salma Hayek, Laura Florentino as the main protagonist. Bethany or something like that, I believe, man. You got Jay and Silent Bob up in here as prophets, of course. The great Alan Rickman as the voice of God. A lot of great stuff going on, and I don't think this one is going to be too shocking at the bottom of the list. And don't get me wrong, I really do enjoy Dogma. It's actually a lot of fun, and I actually did enjoy it more on these last couple rewatches I've done over the last few years compared to when I first watched the film. But overall, I really dig the movie, man. It's really fun, you know what I'm saying, and all the religious themes and all the satire that he's doing there with just the Catholic, religion. Yeah, geez, can I talk? The Catholic religion, but he's also going into a bit of Christianity and other things like that, mixing in different things from Norse mythology, like the name of Loki, but mixing in really common names like Bartleby and all this weird stuff. So I love the way that he's kind of meshing all these different religious denominations and religions together in a certain sense, just to kind of deliver a comedic satire, if you will, on that. And all the themes going on there, man. And there's a lot of fun to be had. You got the great Jason Lee up in here as Azrael. He does a good job being the bad guy and whatnot. And Ben Affleck and Matt Damon, they are so committed to their roles. They really, really knock it out of the park. And you really buy into everything going on with them being angels sent down to Wisconsin to live out the rest of millennia because they've been cast out of heaven. Because, yeah, so for all of y'all that seen it know the deal. It's a fun flick, man. But if I gotta be honest, if I gotta keep it real, I think I gotta put it at the bottom of the list. It's fun. It is rewatchable. I definitely can't wait to own it on the shelf over there. It is a little hard to find, but it's a fun one, man. And you can't go through a View-Askew marathon without it, man. And, pushing boundaries and definitely, pushed the envelope and definitely was quite ahead of its time in some of the stuff it was talking about, and it's just a fun flick overall. So Dogma coming in the bottom of the list, unfortunately, at my least favorite, but still one of my personal favorites at number 8. Going into number 7, y'all, it's going to be the second to last installment here. That's the latest installment right before Clerks III that just dropped, but we're talking about Jay and Silent Bob Reboots going in at 7, and I had a lot of anticipation going into this one because I wasn't watching these films back in the day since '94 or nothing like that. But I had been watching them since Clerks II and became a fan of all the previous ones and just became such a huge Kevin Smith fan overall. I was so excited and never thought in at all that we would ever get any more installments in the Viewaskewniverse, you know what I mean? So it was awesome to finally get a return to form in that way and get back with our boys, Jay and Silent Bob.
Drop the motherfucking clamps! That son of a bitch doesn't have a dick! He's got a fucking dick! He just got it tucked in!
Now, with Jason Mewes being sober for the last 10 years or so, it's been awesome to see him really step into the world of filmmaking, you know what I mean, and become a director and not just an actor. But he's also so hilarious in his own right, and it was so awesome to see him step into this with his boy Kevin Smith and do something fun and get back into what he does best, being that foul-mouthed Jay, man. And it's a lot of fun to be had doing the whole rebooted concept of doing a similar story to Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, but going to Hollywood to stop the reboot as opposed to the original film.
Tell me you guys have no idea there's a new comic book movie being made of the old comic book movie you two are the basis for.
That old-ass star-studded piece of shit, that movie sucked balls.
Suck asshole, too.
Your Honor, I object. I'll allow it. That movie did suck balls and asshole.
Reboots are all the rage these days, as y'all already know. They had the whole requel conversation in Scream 5. Y'all know the deal, you know. And that was the whole meta element of this film. They even had Kevin Smith in the film directing the Jay and Silent Bob, the Blunt Man and Chronic reboot, Blunt Man v. Chronic, you know what I mean? He had so many cameos, man. Tons and tons and tons of fun cameos, just like the original Jay and Silent Bob. And I will say, they work just as well as the original film cameos, to be completely honest with you. But the one thing about this one that makes it stand out from the pack for sure is how much it brings such emotional resonance to Jay's storyline of actually being a father that meets his daughter for the first time after 18 years. You know, the daughter that he ended up having with Justice. Y'all know the deal, you know. Molly Shannon, oh my gosh. Shannon Elizabeth's character. You know, the girl from American Pie and, you know, all the great stuff like that. But yeah, so they had their kid, Millennium Falcon, played by Kevin Smith's real daughter, Harley Quinn Smith. And, you know, it was a lot of fun. They had a lot of great chemistry together, and I liked the whole new addition of the newer ragtag group of girls and all that, man. A lot of fun to be had here, but I love the heart that was definitely at the center of the story on this one, and it was so much fun, man, getting to see some newer faces in the world of acting like Craig Robinson and what's his name, Joe Manganiello, and you know, get to see my boy Justin Long jumping up into the Viewaskewniverse. You know, him and Kevin Smith became real good buddies, working on Zack and Miri and then doing Tusk. So it's great to see him bring him back on this one, and he's representing them as their lawyers and shit. And I love the whole thing. He's got the whole voice he's got going on, hilarious stuff. And yeah, so what's not to like about the Jay and Silent Bob reboot, man? But if I got to rank it somewhere when I'm talking about all the other installments, man, when you're talking about nostalgia and endless rewatchability and all that stuff and just what I prefer, and if I got to rank it, it's got to come in at number 7. But number 6 is going to be the first Jay and Silent Bob flick, Jay and Silent Bob Strike Back, 2001, baby. And what can I say? It was literally the second Viewaskewniverse movie I ever saw. Literally solidified me as a Kevin Smith fan and made me jump into all the other movies. It was my gateway drug, man. You know? Well, I guess you could say Clerks II was, and then that just solidified it for me and just totally turned me into a Jay and Silent Bob fan, and I loved it ever since. They had so many great cameos in that one from the world of Star Wars and all this other stuff, so that's going to obviously pull on nostalgia that I definitely have, if you can't tell from the poster back there. So if you don't know by now, because you're just checking the channel out for the first time, I love Star Wars to death. And we love Star Wars here on the channel to death. Constantly loving Star Wars over here. So you know the deal. And it was great to see all those awesome cameos and everything like that. And it just being the first time you see Jay and Silent Bob having to go and stop a movie being made about their comic book characters, Blunt Man and Chronic. Just getting to see it the first time is obviously just a little more fresh, a little more. And I just think this one's just a little more funnier. And it definitely wasn't afraid to be a little more controversial, unlike the newer one with the reboot, because things have changed and stuff like that.
On moviepoopshoot.com, did you say Jay and Silent Bob are, quote, fucking clown shoes? And if they were real, I'd kick the shit out of them for being so stupid?
Yeah.
Really?
You spin this?
I didn't spin it, sir.
Any boogers in it?
There's no boogers in it, sir.
You went to film school, didn't you? Must piss you off to see a black man running a big old production like this, huh? Went to film school. Does your daddy know that you give a nigga his coffee? It would kill him, wouldn't it?
There's no boogers in it, sir.
But I kind of like that more edgier charm of the earlier Kevin Smith movies, man. Those like those 90s movies and stuff like that.
I mean, if you were another sheep, Would you fuck a sheep if you were another sheep?
Since you put it that way, you bet your ass I would.
Thought so. Yo, this motherfucker ain't one of us. He said he'd fuck a sheep. Wait, no.
And that's just that era I grew up in when, you know, things weren't necessarily as different as they are now, you know what I mean? So just was cool to kind of, you know, it's just always a fun time to be had with the movie, man. Just got a lot of nostalgia for me back in high school and all that, watching it with my boys. So definitely got a lot of nostalgia playing a factor here, but it's got to come in at number 6. And we're going to have to round off here into the top 5, y'all. And this one was tough. It was tough to get this top 5 together, man. But I'm going to have to do Chasing Amy at number 5. And I will say, the older I get, the more I tend to love this movie, and it really resonates with me more and more. It was so ahead of its time with the progressive nature of the story between the way that it's portraying queer versus straight, cisgender relationships and all that stuff, and the way that Kevin Smith did it so unabashedly and so authentic and just with so much heart and just wearing his heart on his sleeve and really showing a story that people could really connect with on that level and leaving a lot of the zany comedic humor out of there. Now, there's definitely some crass humor and some crass dialogue and stuff like that. You get a little Jay and Silent Bob cameo, but even that cameo brings the whole explainer of where the Chasing Amy story came from through Silent Bob telling the real life story of Kevin Smith going through something with a girl that he knew named Amy, and inspired the whole idea for the damn movie. And he has that whole explainer when Silent Bob always has the one time in these movies where he tends to have, you know, a whole big speech or a whole big insight into the situation and what's going on. So yeah, but yeah, man. So really dug Chasing Amy, and what else can I say about other than the obvious with the great, fantastic performances with the lead actors and characters of Joey Lauren Adams as Alyssa Jones and Ben Affleck as Holden McNeil, man. And I can never forget about my boy Jason Lee. He came up in this thing, and everyone really did their thing and really killed it, man. And I want to shout out Dwight Hewell who played. I'm forgetting the character's name. My bad. I'm gonna have to flash it on the screen or something. I'm totally blanking on the name. But yeah, I really love Chasing Amy, man. It's such a great, fantastic movie, and definitely one of Kevin Smith's best written films. And if you put it in your top spot, top 2, top 3, I totally understand it. But I'm just a big fan of the Clerks series, which we're gonna be getting into in just a moment. And y'all know, if you don't know me by now, y'all should know I love me some Mallrats. So I love Chasing Amy. It's a great film. I won't argue with people saying it's one of his best made films, if not best made. I get it. But for me, got to put it in number 5. And number 4, Quattro, man, it's going to be Clerks II. I'm going to go with Clerks II, the whole gateway drug of the reason why I am a fan of Kevin Smith films to begin with. This is what started it all right here, man. I love Clerks II. And I have heard some people don't quite dig it as much as the first one. And I don't necessarily think it's better than the first one or anything like that. I do think there are some jokes and some bits that go a little too far in the sense that they're just unnecessary or just kind of shocking to be shocking. Not that they're like, oh, it offends me, but it's just a little too much in general and whatnot. And it kind of lost a little bit of the low-budget charm that the first one has with him literally having to sell his comic book collection and max out credit cards to make it in the store he actually worked in and was employed for at the time. That's the whole crazy thing with it. But you didn't really have that charm with Clerks II. And at the time, it did seem like to critics and people at the time that he was just going back to the well, going back to something familiar. But I still do think he had a genuine story to tell with the main 2 characters of Randall and Dante, of course, and the whole journey that they go on as friends and all the different craziness that ensues throughout the film. Jay and Silent Bob are back stronger than ever.
How about a nickelback, man?
Oh, $15, little man. Put that shit in my hand. Nong, 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 nong.
He likes to sing.
You know what I'm saying? And Jay was just so damn hilarious once again, being the more sober version that literally had just gotten out of rehab and had gotten clean to get on to the movie. And he would always do that back then. And Kevin Smith would get him clean just to do the movies and stuff, and then they would get back in there. And he's in here infusing that real-life storyline of apparently him and Silent Bob getting arrested and then getting out of rehab after 6 months. And now they're still selling dope, apparently, but they're not going to be using. So that's the whole funny bit going on there with those two. And there's so many funny bits, man, between the porch monkey thing and the whole thing written on the side of the wall and all that stuff. Oh, we totally do. And then the whole thing with the freaking Goodbye Horses track, man.
I'm fucking bored, man. Boredom's the first step on the road to relapse.
Oh.
Would you fuck me? I'd fuck me. I'd fuck me hard.
The Silence of the Lambs thing. And it's just so many funny bits, and I love the whole musical number with ABC, the Jackson 5 right there, man. So much fun to be had with Clerks II. And I love the whole poignant thing of Dante just wanting to find his calling and find a way to move on and truly mature and grow up and find his way in life. So I could definitely relate to that in my late 20s at this point. So I really, really do dig Clerks II, man. It's one of my favorites. Always going to be one of my personal favorites, and is literally the reason why I love these films. But I got to say, there's three more that just kind of win me over a little bit more, had a little bit more of an impact on me when I saw them, or I just love them to death, man. So just got to put Clerks 2 and number 4. And
You in what army?
Promise me.
All right, get off of me, you nut. What the fuck?
number 3. It's gonna be might be controversial, might be, but I'm gonna put Clerks 3 in the top 3. And I gotta say, this movie just moved me, man. And it was so much fun to be back at the Quick Stop. And I think the way that Kevin Smith really just infused a lot of his real life stuff into the script, and the way that they really delivered a not necessarily a happy ending, but an ending that really just makes sense for Randall and Dante as characters and for the Clerks series overall.
What the hell is this?
I added a scene where you get shot.
I'm not letting you kill me off in the third act. What if there's a sequel?
A sequel? What am I, a hack?
And just the way that they bring their friendship and their relationship full circle in a way that really does feel genuine and really authentic to how friendships really go sometimes, to how they really do go through those turbulent times and really do get bumpy. And sometimes you kind of call it quits, but by the end of the day, you know, when they're gone, you know, all you really had was that time that you spent together and all that good stuff. So it was a really, really great storyline that Kevin Smith wrote for the film, with Dante passing on and Randall having the heart attack.
I can't catch my breath is all.
On a scale of 1 to 10, how bad would you say your pain level is?
My pain level? It's like a -3.
Well, you're doing it all wrong. You're supposed to be in a lot of pain when you have a heart attack.
Wait a minute, I had a heart attack?
Just similar to how Kevin Smith had a real life heart attack and things of that nature. And the whole thing of how, spoilers obviously for this thing, how, Becky ended up passing away shortly after it due to a drunk driving accident, someone hitting her in a collision, and that was it for Becky and his daughter. And in the moment he thought he finally had everything figured out and found the love of his life, it all went down the toilet, man, and he went into such a deep depression for the next 15, 16 years, and it's really sad to see where Dante was at in the film, man. And I gotta say, it's also Brian O'Halloran and Jeff Anderson's best acting as those characters and their best performances overall, I gotta say, in the entire Viewaskewniverse. And some might say that seems a bit obvious by now due to the comedic nature of a lot of the other movies. But for me, man, this movie really just hit on an emotional level and really hit me in the gut, man. It hit me in the feels and really had a story to tell and really took such a dramatic turn in that second half that I didn't see coming, you know? And there were so many great funny bits throughout it as well, and them recreating so many iconic moments and scenes throughout the first two Clerks movies was so fun and so meta and so well done. And the opening sequence when motherfucking Welcome to the Black Parade playing, come on now. If you're gonna put my favorite band in there, they're from New Jersey. It all ties into the big thing of Kevin Smith making this a love letter to New Jersey, getting to go back to New Jersey to film this, to actually make the film. It's all full circle. It's all great stuff. It is stuff that I can relate to and I personally love. So Clerks 3, man, blew me away. Really didn't think it'd be this high up in the list at this point. Never thought he could deliver something this satisfying that was possibly even better than the first sequel, and damn near is as good as the original, you know, in certain aspects of the filmmaking and the writing. You know what I mean? Doesn't have the same impact and all that kind of stuff. Isn't a classic yet, but I think it definitely rivals Kevin Smith's filmmaking ability of the time and definitely shows his growth overall. So I love me some Clerks 3. definitely a great one. If you haven't seen it yet, because it recently just dropped in theaters in a more limited run, you need to make sure you go out and do so. It's dropping on digital next month in October. It's coming out on Blu-ray in December, and your boy is going to have that under the Christmas tree from me. It's going to be great stuff. And yeah, so number 3, Clerks 3. We're going to be going into the top 2 right here, y'all. It's Clerks, 1994, the original, the whole thing that started it all. Or is it going to be the follow-up that tanked at the time but became the ultimate cult classic and the nerdiest film of the 90s that was way ahead of its time and predicted the way the pop culture would be today? Mallrats. What's it going to be? Well, it's going to be Clerks and number 2, y'all. And I got to say, I know it might be blasphemous for some of those longtime Kevin Smith fans. I get it. It don't get me wrong. It's a bona fide classic. What else can I say about this movie that hasn't been said already? I really do relate to it due to my work, my past, and my work history and things like that.
Now, I could do without the people in the video store.
Which ones?
All of them.
What would you get for a 6-year-old boy who chronically wets his bed?
So do you have any new movies in?
Do you have that one with that guy who was in that movie that was out last year?
It's just an amazing low-budget film that really was the champion of the spirit of independent filmmaking. It really was one of the most independently funded, made, and most successful indie films ever made. And it's so damn inspiring the way Kevin Smith really just started the whole career he's had for the past nearly 30 years, maybe 30 years now from the time he started developing it in 92, 93. So it's been just about 30 years of this man's career, and this totally did it all. And really just put a boost in independent filmmaking and really changed the landscape of what was going on at the time. And, it's just one of those great 90s classics, man. There's really not much I could say about it at this point that hasn't been said already out there. But I love me some Clerks, man. It's literally as old as I am. I love Clerks. It's a great, great film. All-time classic. One of my personal favorites. I'll always own that on the shelf to the day I die. I love Clerks, man. Love the characters. Dante and Randall are my spirit animals for life. I love it, man. Oh, it's the frickin' greatest, man, but it's time to get into it. Yo, it is time to get that damn kid off the escalator. It's fucking Mallrats time, the 1995 classic, baby. The cult classic, the movie that predicted pop culture as we know it today. The movie that was not lame, but just ahead of its time, man. Just ahead of its time, and it totally tanked at the box office back then, man, but it has really truly gone on to truly live on through the test of time, truly introduce Jay and Silent Bob in a whole new way.
Knock it off.
And I think in a much bigger way than even the original Clerks film. And I think really solidified the tone and the vibe of those characters and Jay as an actor overall.
Oh, son of Jarrell! Kneel before Sod!
Snoochie Boochies. Introduction to Jason Lee as an actor who was at the time a retired professional skateboarder and shit like that. And that totally launched his film career as well.
Where I'd pop on the radio and then we could slow dance till the sun came up. That was the biggest load of crap I've ever heard. I mean, look at you. You're the kind of guy that would beg for sex. I should know. We can smell our own.
And you got a lot of great other actresses and other performers in here as well. Michael Rooker, Shannon Doherty, you know what I mean? There was another one. Oh yeah, you got Brian O'Halloran jumping up in here. Ben Affleck, of course, as the douchebag from Fashionable Male. So what is there not to love about this movie, man? It is obviously dope. It also features the very first Stan Lee cameo in film.
I created some special new superheroes. They were characters that reflected my own heartbreak and my own regrets.
How so?
Dr. Doom wears body armor to conceal his own mangled form, right?
Yeah.
Okay. That was me beneath the armor. The Hulk. A normal guy 1 minute, a rage of emotions the next. Just like me when I thought about what I'd given up.
So you created each character as a way to deal with your one big regret.
Yeah, the girl that got away.
What's not to love about that, man? It's the introduction of Stan the Man to the pop culture zeitgeist as we know it, man. And it's just so steeped in comic book nerd culture. I love all the different things with Jay doing the freaking Wolverine move, and
We're just gonna outwit LaFour's X-Men style.
Should I call you Logan, Weapon X?
No, Wolverine, snickety, snoring.
What he's doing is imitating Wolverine's berserker attack with his adamantium claws.
Never would have guessed.
freaking Silent Bob having the Batman gun and the damn bat wings and shit like that. And he keeps crashing in on Alyssa Jones, whoever the hell that was, or whoever that's supposed to be. And but yeah, man, it's just a fun, zany adventure in the mall, man. Super 90s flick, man. But I absolutely love and adore Mallrats. It's always been one of my favorites. I'm a comic book nerd, as you can see right there. I'm a big nerd, always have been, always will be, and Mallrats just definitely appealed to me and hit me in the right time, watched it in my early 20s, and just loved the film and fell in love with it, and it's literally become one of my favorite movies of all time, so how could I not put it at the top of my Viewaskewniverse ranking, y'all? But that's it. That concludes the big View Askew review series we were doing leading up to Clerks III, celebrating all 30 years, almost pretty much right now thus far, of these Viewaskewniverse films, man. The legacy of Jay and Silent Bob, the legacy of Kevin Smith's filmography. I love it. I'm a big fan of it. I would love to hear from y'all down below. Drop your ranking and let me know why you put him in that exact spot. And let me know why you put your number one as number one and all of that. And we're going to have a lot more content coming at you guys real soon. Spooky season is right around the corner. I'm so excited. The backdrop's going to have a whole new look, or, a new look. And we're going to have a whole bunch of spooky content coming around the corner. A lot of dope stuff. We've been doing weekly recaps for the big TV series going on right now. Andor, She-Hulk, House of the Dragon, all that's going down. Make sure you tune into that every week, 3 different days throughout the week. Make sure you tune in. And we've been on a bit of a hiatus with our long-form podcast, the Fandom Frequency Show, but that will be returning sooner rather than later. Keep your eyes peeled for that. And until next time, guys, stay tuned. Don't sleep. SNOOCHIE BOOCHIES. Much love. And thanks for checking out the View Askew review series. And until next time, peace.